6 o'clock on Oluyole 98.5 FM.
The news.
Good evening. This is Jamila Iligbide. Reading with me is
Idowu Shekoni. Good evening.
Bringing you Newscope, our daily news program of in-depth reports, interviews and commentaries. Thursday highlights. President Tinubu advocates stronger local harnessing of Africa's energy resources.
Security operatives bar suspended Kogi lawmaker Natasha Poti-Udoha from resuming at National Assembly.
Oyo government reiterates partnership with Nigeria's Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone program over Ijaye Agro-Industrial Park.
And on the foreign scene, 3 killed in Pakistan landslides.
Now the details. President Bola Tinubu today stated that Africa must take ownership of its energy resources by creating a credible and transparent benchmark that reflect the continent's realities and safeguard its economies. He was speaking ahead of the Global Commodity Insights Conference on West African refined fuel markets, scheduled to take place in Abuja this week. In a statement via his X handle, President Tinubu said Nigeria would work with regional partners to build an integrated energy market that ensures value for Africa. He said Africa can no longer remain a price taker for its resources, adding that it is time to establish credible, transparent benchmarks. The president also noted that Nigeria is pursuing reforms in refining, regulation, data transparency, and trade flows to foster regional cooperation and deepen economic integration. The proposed 2-day conference, hosted by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority in collaboration with S&P Global Insights, will bring together Africa's energy leaders and global partners to discuss pricing, regulation and market development.
The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to implementing the National Single Window (NSW) initiative. The National Single Window Initiative is an integrated trade facilitation platform aimed at plugging revenue leakages, enhancing transparency, and improving the efficiency of international trade processes. Speaking during an appearance before the National Assembly Joint Committee on Customs and Tariffs, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, explained that the Tinubu administration remains focused on correcting structural distortions in the economy. He said this is particularly in view of the removal of fuel subsidy and the shift to a market-driven foreign exchange system. Mr. Edo acknowledged challenges in Nigeria's trade payment system, noting that a significant number of transactions still occur through informal channels. He, however, revealed that the government is exploring reforms aimed at increasing transparency, including the possibility of conducting import and crude oil transactions in Naira.
Minister of Marine and Blue Economy Adegboyega Oyetola has disclosed plans to end Nigeria's reliance on imported fish. He said this will be achieved by boosting local production through comprehensive reforms in the aquaculture and fisheries sector. The minister made the disclosure at a meeting with fisheries cooperative groups in Abuja, said government is determined to reposition the sector as a critical driver of food security, job creation and export development. Mr. Oyetola further revealed that his ministry is intensifying efforts to empower women and youths with startup grants and other support initiatives. He also said that increasing youth participation in aquaculture is not only vital for food production, but also a strategic solution to reducing unemployment. In a welcome speech, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, Mr. Oluyole, reiterated the ministry's readiness to build enduring partnerships with cooperative societies to drive inclusive growth.
There was palpable tension at the entrance of the National Assembly complex in Abuja today as security operatives board suspended Kogi Central lawmaker Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan from gaining access to the premises. The senator arrived at the National Assembly gate in a black SUV, accompanied by female activist Aisha Yusufu, rights advocate Mama P, activist Randy, and a growing crowd of supporters. Aisha Yusufu confronted the officers stationed at the gate and challenged the order allegedly issued to block Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's entry. She insisted that the National Assembly is meant for everyone, as the standoff quickly escalated, with some supporters attempting to force their way in. Senator Natasha Akpoti's supporters were later seen marching towards the complex chanting solidarity songs. Recall that despite a recent court judgment declaring her suspension unconstitutional, the Nigerian Senate insisted that there would be no going back on the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, who was expected to make a return to plenary today.
Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke and members of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Osun have endorsed President Bola Tinubu as their candidates for the 2027 presidential election. Governor Adeleke made this known today in a post shared via his X handle. He wrote that the PDP in Osun has also endorsed President Tinubu for re-election in 2027. He added that the party recognizes President Tinubu as a proud son of Osun.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Professor Nentawe Yewata, has disclosed that no fewer than 3,160 persons have been displaced following the recent killings in Yelwa community, Benue State. The minister stated this today during an interview aired on a private TV station. Professor Yewata revealed that among the displaced were 810 school-age children, while about 48 homes, several shops, and as well as business centers were destroyed during the attack on Yelwa community. The minister explained that his team carried out a comprehensive needs assessment in the affected community in collaboration with state authorities and international partners. He said a long-term response plan to address the humanitarian crisis and restore stability to the community has been designed, with an estimated intervention budget of 6.7 billion naira. According to the minister, this will cover emergency relief, peace building, and durable solutions for the displaced families, adding that similar efforts were ongoing in Benue, Borno, and Niger states, where communities are grappling with the impact of insurgency, flooding, and malnutrition.
This broadcast of Newscope comes to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, Ibadan. The Oyo State government has reiterated commitment to the establishment of Ijaye Agro-Industrial Park being facilitated by the Nigeria Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone Program. The State Deputy Governor, Barrister Bayalawal, gave the assurance in Ibadan while hosting a team of stakeholders on the project who were on a courtesy visit. BCO's reporter Adebayo Durofi has the full story.
The Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone project is a collaborative effort of the participating states, including Oyo, Ogun, Kwara, Cross River, Kaduna, Kano, Imo, and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, the Federal Ministry of Finance, African Development Bank, and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture through the Nigeria Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone Program Office. The stakeholders had earlier embarked on a supervision mission to the Atan Ijaye site of the project and the Oyo State Agribusiness Transformation Center, Fashola, where the team expressed satisfaction with the level of preparedness by the state government towards the actualization of the project. Receiving the team on a courtesy visit to its office, The State Deputy Governor, Barrister Bayo Lawal, disclosed that the Governor Seyi Makinde-led administration put agriculture on the front burner, knowing fully well that survival depends largely on food production. While assuring of the state government's commitment to ensuring the success of the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone project, Barrister Bayo Lawal stated that the recent designation of the Oyo State Agribusiness Transformation Center, Fashola, into a Special Agro-Industrial Processing Hub was a way of streamlining efforts in that direction.
These efforts by African Development Bank will harmonize and harness substance farming in a way that instead of really doing agri on a most rudimentary level, your efforts will crystallize in enlightening our people, our locals, into doing agribusiness is slightly different from what they are doing currently.
In their respective remarks, the National Coordinator, Nigerian Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone Program, Dr. Kabir Yusuf, and the Principal Agro-Industrial Processing Officer, African Development Bank Group, Bernard Onzima, commended the state government for being proactive in the efforts at making Nigeria realize the mission of food sovereignty.
So this is a joint mission to come and see how Oyo has gone, how have they utilized the fund thus far. And I can tell you what we have seen is nothing short of marvelous, honestly.
Happy with the progress, but we also know that Oyo as a state is already far advanced in many respects compared to the other states. The state has made significant investments with its own resources and is making more. So we are encouraged by the leadership of the state in that direction, and this aligns with the bank's objectives of enhancing agricultural development in Africa, but also ensuring that Africa has food sovereignty.
The stakeholders who were led during the courtesy call by the Director General of Oyo State Agribusiness Development Agency, OYOSTATE, Dr. Debo Akonde, had earlier in the day held a meeting to discuss the next line of action in the implementation of plans for the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone project. Adebayo Abdurrafi, BCOS News.
Self-medication is not uncommon in a country like Nigeria, where many assume they can rightly diagnose ailments merely by the symptoms without visiting a certified doctor or healthcare professional. Mabel Jagade, in the special report, examines the health implications and hazards of self-medication. The report is presented by Olamide Olabi.
Self-medication is the practice of taking medication to treat an illness or condition without consulting a doctor or other healthcare professionals. This can involve the use of over-the-counter medications, prescription drugs, or even home remedies. While some sees it as a convenient way to address minor ailments, self-medication can be risky, potentially leading to misdiagnosis, improper dosage, harmful interactions with other medications or substances, and masking of serious underlying conditions. A study done in the 6 geographical regions of Nigeria shows that 70% of the people in the country choose to manage their health first before consulting a health practitioner. It is in this slide that the Executive Secretary, Oyo State Primary Healthcare Board, Dr. Muidi Olatunji, identified that aside the inability to afford a proper doctor consultation, ignorance is one of the main reasons people venture into self-medication.
It's a combination of many things. Ignorance, and then I wouldn't say poverty, but I would say ignorance. Because some actually use funds that we said is scarce to procure drugs in the wrong way to be administered to themselves. And it doing them so much harm. They would say somebody use a drug for a particular signs and symptoms, and because they too seem to have a similar signs and symptom, they think it's a liberty for them to use the same medicine the person used, but not knowing that many disease conditions can actually have the same signs and symptoms, but it's only a properly trained medical personnel or healthcare provider that can actually differentiate between one and then. It's a combination of physical examination and detailed history taking before you can conclude and know what ailment is somebody is actually having, before you can make a appropriate diagnosis.
Also speaking of self-medication, the Permanent Secretary of Oyo State Ministry of Health, Dr. Adekunle Ayinde, pointed out that the body develops resistance to drugs being abused as a result of this, which makes it difficult for some medicines to work effectively even after proper diagnosis and prescriptions.
Some people even use drugs that they have at home, maybe being prescribed some months or weeks ago, and they have not completed it. They just take it as a kind of immediate need for the kind of illness they are having. It's a big issue. We realize that this thing have a lot of effect, apart from a kind of covering the re-diagnosis when you have started the medication. That's a big problem. You don't take the appropriate dose. That means you are building a kind of resistance for the conditions you are taking the drugs for. Another thing is the fact that you cloud the diagnosis, and it may lead to a kind of drug interaction. What maybe the drug you are taking not supposed to be used for the conditions, or the drug you are taking may be against other drugs that you are taking.
The DRO further urged the general public to stop self-medication, as it is a serious issue and must be discouraged in the society. Therefore, visit the hospital when the need arises. Do not engage in self-medication.
A driver identified only as Kingsley has been reported missing and is feared dead after being swept away by ocean currents at Takwa Bay Beach in Lagos. The tragic incident occurred on Sunday afternoon during a leisure trip involving two Indian nationals who are said to be employees of the Dangote company at Lekki. According to police, the expatriates visited the Takwa Bay Police Division to report the incident, stating that their Nigerian driver had accompanied them to the beach for relaxation when he decided to enter the water around 4 p.m. Unfortunately, he was overpowered by strong waves and disappeared beneath the surface. Police officers dispatched from the Takwa Bay Police Division confirmed that all efforts to recover the driver's body have so far been unsuccessful.
Let's now go over to our sports studio for latest updates from the exciting world of sports with Victor Opone.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on the sports segment of the news. I am Victor Opone.
We start with the news that Oyo State's premier female football club, the Pacesetter Queens FC, has been officially unveiled at a vibrant press conference in Ibadan. The event showcased the club's new logo, introduced its dynamic leadership team, and outlined an ambitious vision to transform women's football in Oyo State and in Nigeria. Attended by football stakeholders, dignitaries, and media partners, the ceremony highlighted Oyo State's commitment to sports development and gender equality. The Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Ms. Wasilat Adegoke, presided over the unveiling, expressing profound gratitude to Governor Seyi Makinde for his steadfast support and emphasized the governor's role in fostering equal opportunities for women in sports. The new logo, described as bold and modern, symbolizes the strength, unity and aspirations of the players and fans, signaling Pacesetter Queens FC's readiness to make a mark on national and international stages. The newly appointed leadership team, a group of seasoned professionals, was introduced as the backbone of the club's future. Head coach Akinwumi Obajimi heads the technical staff, joined by first assistant coach Damilola Olaitan Badmos, a former player with a CAFC license, and second assistant coach Zacchaeus Aderoju. The team is completed by physical trainer Latif Lukman, a FIFA badged goalkeeper trainer Felusho Ajayi, and UEFA officer Ms. Grace Towobola, who holds CAF and UEFA B licenses. Their expertise is set to drive talent development and elevate the club's operations. Adegoke announced strategic plans, including a 1-month trial period for aspiring players. Goodwill messages came from ex-international Musio Adepoju, Oyo State Football Association Chairman Oba James Odeniran, reflecting strong support for the club's objectives. Adegoke thanked the media for amplifying women's sports and called on fans to embrace Pacesetter Queens FC as a movement to shape the future of football with robust leadership and a clear vision. The club is poised to set new standards in Nigerian women's football.
On the foreign scene, Arsenal look to have finally got their man, with the Gunners agreeing a deal for Sporting CP striker Victor Gyökeres. As per Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal will pay €63.5 million plus a potential €10 million in add-ons for the Swede, who will sign on a 5-year contract. Still on the Gunners on the transfer, Christian Mosquera is flying to Singapore to join up with Arsenal on their pre-season tour as the Gunners move closer to completing a deal for the Valencia defender. The 21-year-old has been given permission by the Spanish club to join up with Arsenal, having already agreed personal terms. The Spain under-21 defender will provide competition for William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. Crystal Palace have submitted an appeal against their demotion from the Europa League to the Conference League with the Court of Arbitration for Sports. The appeal is against UEFA, which issued the punishment. French club, Lyon, and Premier League rivals Nottingham Forest. The Eagles were punished for breaching multi-club ownership rules as American businessman John Textor also stake in the club and is the majority owner of Lyon, who have also qualified for the Europa League. And as we wrap up, former Wales, Liverpool and Wrexham defender Joey Jones has died aged 70. The left-back, who won 72 caps for his country, had 3 spells with Wrexham in addition to stints with Liverpool, Chelsea and Huddersfield Town. He enjoyed a glittering 3-year period with Liverpool, winning the first division title, 2 European Cups, a UEFA Cup and the European Super Cup. The Reds' victory against Borussia Mönchengladbach in Rome in 1977 saw him become the first Welshman to lift the European Cup. And with that, we have come to the end of the news from the ever-exciting world of sports. Thank you for joining. I am Victor Opone.
It's now time for foreign news with Bimbo Akombi of our foreign news desk.
More than 8 vehicles were swept away on Monday when heavy rains triggered by a landslide on a highway in Gilgit-Baltistan's Daimas district. Abdul Hamid Daimas district police officer told the news agency on Tuesday, and he said 3 dead bodies have been recovered and more than 15 are still missing. Flash floods, collapsed buildings and electrocutions have killed 221 people since the monsoon season arrived in the country in late June with heavier rains than usual. Several of the victims were tourists from other parts of Pakistan visiting the popular tourist destination of Gilgit-Baltistan, a province in the Pakistani-administered Kashmir renowned for its lush valleys and crystal-clear lakes. Ahmed said at least 10 vehicles were buried under the debris. The rescue operation has been launched again at 6 a.m. today, he added. Floods in the area on Monday have damaged 50 houses, 4 bridges, a hotel and a school, as well as blocked major highways and damaged communication signals. In the meantime, Wifa typhoon downgraded to tropical storm has made landfall in northern Vietnam, bringing strong winds and heavy rains that left 5 people dead and displaced thousands over the weekend in the nearby Philippines. The storm, classified as a typhoon on Monday while over open water, came ashore at 10 a.m. that is about 0300 GMT on Tuesday, with maximum sustained winds of 102 kilometers per hour, that is about 63 miles per hour. According to local weather officials, the streets of the capital city, Hanoi, were nearly empty as the storm moved inland. Most businesses were closed, and the city government has advised residents to stay home and evacuate buildings that are unstable or in flood-prone areas. No casualties or damage have been reported so far in Vietnam, while an estimated 350,000 Vietnamese soldiers are on standby as the country's weather agency expects up to 500 millimeters, that is about 20 inches of rainfall, which will cause dangerous flooding and landslides. Also, floodwaters driven by torrential rains in the aftermath of Wifa brought much of life in the Philippine capital Manila to a halt earlier on Tuesday, with tens of thousands evacuated from their homes and at least 2 people believed missing. Schools and government offices remain closed in Manila and surrounding provinces after a night of rain that saw the region's Marikana River burst its banks. Again, more than 24 countries have called for an immediate end to the war on Gaza, saying that suffering there had reached new depths in the latest sign of allies sharpening language as Israel's international isolation deepens. The statement came after more than 21 months of fighting that have triggered catastrophic humanitarian conditions for Gaza's more than 2 million residents. Israeli allies, the United Kingdom, France, Australia, Canada, and 21 other countries, plus the European Union, said in a joint statement that the war must end now. They condemned the drip feeding of aid and the inhumane killing of civilians, including children, seeking to meet their most basic needs of water and food. In total, the statement was signed by the foreign ministers of Australia, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. The European Union Commissioner for Equality, Preparedness, and Crisis Management was also a signatory. Bimbo Akombi, BCOS News.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the top stories. President Bola Tinubu today stated that Africa must take ownership of its energy resources by creating credible and transparent benchmarks that reflect the continent's realities and safeguard its economies.
There was palpable tension at the entrance of the National Assembly complex in Abuja today as security operatives barred suspended Kogi Central lawmaker Senator Natasha Koti-Dwagan from gaining access to the premises.
The Oluyole state government has reiterated commitment to the establishment of Ijayi Agro-Industrial Park being facilitated by the Nigeria Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone program.
And 3 people have been killed in landslides and heavy rains in Pakistan.
That's all from the Newscope desk. It was packaged by Tola Teriba and delivered by
Jamila Iligbidi. Good evening.
Nido Shekoni, thanks for listening, and don't forget to tune in for the Yoruba version at 8 p.m. Good evening.
Ọ̀gbẹ́ni, ǹjẹ́ o mọ̀ pé ọ̀nà kan ṣoṣo láti mọ ipò àrùn kògbóògùn rẹ ni ṣíṣe àyẹ̀wò? Èyí ni yóò fún ìwọ àti ẹnìkejì rẹ ní ìgbẹ́kẹ̀lé àti àlàyé kúnkún.
Má fi nù mí, mo mọ̀ ọ́ jẹ, mo sì mọ̀ wípé ìṣẹ́dúró rẹ̀ ti wà fún gbogbo wa, pàápàá jùlọ àwọn ọ̀dọ́. Ṣàyẹ̀wò fún àrùn kògbóògùn HIV lẹ́ẹ̀kan péré nínú oṣù 6 tí o bá sì wà pẹ̀lú ewu ńlá láti kó HIV. Ṣe àyẹ̀wò léraléra.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, o ò sì gbọ́dọ̀ dá ṣe àyẹ̀wò náà. Ó dára púpọ̀ kí ìwọ àti olólùfẹ́ rẹ jọ mọ ipò ìlera HIV yín.
Jíjẹ́ kí àyẹ̀wò HIV wà lára ètò àdójúkọ wa ní swagger tuntun.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ó ṣe pàtàkì láti mọ ìgbésẹ̀ tí ó kàn láti ara èsì àyẹ̀wò náà. Tí èsì rẹ̀ bá jẹ́ pé ẹ ní àrùn náà, lílo antiretroviral therapy tó túmọ̀ sí pé o ò lè kó ran olólùfẹ́ rẹ láti ibi ìbálòpọ̀. Tí èsì àyẹ̀wò náà bá sì fi hàn pé o ní, o gbọ́dọ̀ dáàbò bo ara rẹ kí o sì fi ìfẹ́ hàn àwọn tí ó wà ní àyíká rẹ tí ó ní àrùn náà.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ dẹ́kun àrùn HIV ká sì ṣe ìwúrí fún àwọn tó ti tójú bọ́, pàápàá jùlọ àwọn ọ̀dọ́, láti ṣe àyẹ̀wò láti ran ara wa lọ́wọ́ ká sì fòpin sí àléébù tó wà pẹ̀lú àrùn HIV. Àròkọ yìí wá láti Federal Ministry of Health pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ Nàìjíríà àti àwọn ènìyàn Amẹ́ríkà fún àjọ PEPFAR.
Good tasty food is worth living for. Worried about your oil every time you enjoy your favorite meal? Introducing Golden Terra Smart Balance Oil. Smart Balance Rice Bran Oil is rich in gamma oryzanol. Several studies suggest that gamma oryzanol may contribute to the reduction of bad cholesterol. Golden Terra Smart Balance Oil. Good food, no worries.
It's time to switch up your streaming and social media experiences. Introducing the Glow My G bundle, the first all-in-one social and music bundle. It's the perfect bundle for texting, snapping, streaming, sharing, vibing, and everything you love doing online. With My G bundle, you get the data deals from Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Boomplay, Audiomack, and Glow TV, all in one bundle. Now you can make every naira count with affordable all-in-one data bundles with Glow My G. Get 1 gigabyte for 300 naira, 1.5 gigabytes for 500 naira, and 3.5 gigabytes for 1,000 naira on the Glow My G bundle. Plus, you also get 1 hour of free browsing on your favorite apps. That's Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Boomplay, Audiomack, and Glow TV. Dial *312# to start making every naira count with the Glow My G bundle. T's and C's apply.
Unlimited.
Mom's love is pure. It's so no she does. Mom's special jollof puts a smile on your face. Mom's yummy fries cheers you up. Mom's tasty stew nourishes the family. Golden Terra Oil, tasty. Golden Terra Oil, nourishing. Golden Terra Oil, Golden Terra soya oil.
Golden Terra Oil helps mom pour her love in the tasty, nourishing meals she cooks for her family. Golden Terra Oil, pour pure love.
The city of Ibadan, the home of ancient warlords, in the Pacesetter state, this is Oluyole FM 98.5 Ibadan.
Rubbish in there, in a pig is in my God. Once you get that, can take a shopping. Get what you want to take a show Japanese. Not to come to my office again. Baby girl.